Alrighty, fellas, good morning. Welcome to stream recap 407, and this is the final full week, the final week left of preparation for the event season in PokeMMO. We have a lot to cover today. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Go ahead and get started. First things first, Tom Hosnier shouted out to me that there is a Yetodai wall rain over on the GTL. This is really cool. This is an OG player. I didn't know him personally, but it's a player that I know the name of. I know the name of a very recognizable 2013 player. Honestly, how expensive are wall rains? Part of me wants to hop over to the main account. This is crazy to do in the stream recap intro, but to show you how much I care about stuff like this, I think one of the coolest things when it comes to collecting older Pokemon is looking for OTs of either your old friends that no longer play the game. Like, it is the most old school MMO cool thing in my opinion, buying OTs and buying Pokemon from names that you recognize, historical members of PokeMMO, and even friends that you may know, right? I think I might have a Pokemon named Yetodai, or at one time in my life I had a Pokemon named Yetodai. That's how recognizable this name is. It was just, whether you were on the forums, whether you were innovating PvP teams, whatever you were doing, you could get your name known pretty aggressively in PokeMMO back in those days because the community was so much smaller. Now that that's taken care of, we have more stuff to cover, okay? I have an announcement of my schedule. My schedule is going to be a little weird, but, you know, coming up to event season, I think it's really important to take a break before thank you for the donation, Carmel. Thank you properly here in a quick sec. I think it's really important to take a break heading into an event season. It's going to be so exhausting, so busy, back to back. Not only are we getting the event, right, and all the events that are, we're probably getting updates to the game. And that's been the PokeMMO developer thought process and philosophy has changed over the past 2 years or so. Before 2 years ago, they used to never drop big updates, or very rarely drop big updates during event season. Nowadays, they kind of bombard all the content. They kind of drop everything during event season. It's pretty crazy. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming up, but so it's a lot to prepare for. Here's my schedule. The smiley faces, the green smiley faces mean that I will be live. I will be streaming the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd. Then on the 25th, that's Saturday, you might have noticed the yellow star. That is a fashion contest. That is a fashion contest coming up. There is a scheduled stream for it. I really wanted to bring this back. For those who don't know, I used to do fashion contests and shiny ratings whenever possible. Usually like once every month. Maybe every few, I was never great on the schedule, but it's basically where I will rate people's outfits and drip in PokeMMO. It's a way for you guys to flex your vanities, flex your custom designs, your outfits, your combinations, right? And then also possibly win free RP, free Pokeyen, free shiny charms. I like to give stuff away just, here and there, nothing like super top, no like surprising structure. It's really just, if you stand out to me, and I think your outfit's really cool, I'll try to throw you a bone, give you something small, give you a little prize. The prizes aren't the main thing. It's really just to flex on stream, come together as a community, learn about different items, different vanities. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. There will be a fashion contest once again on the 25th, Saturday at noon ET, 12 p.m. ET. Now, there's no streams on the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th. And then the 30th is maybe. The 30th and the 31st. The Halloween event could drop on the 30th at 8 p.m. ET. And I might do a little stream later in that evening, starting around 6 p.m. Not normal stream times, right? The 30th and the 31st, I will probably start streaming around 6 to 8 p.m. around that time and see if we get an event drop and just kind of like build up the hype. We can all kind of be in the waiting room together. That's always fun. To see the earthquake, if you've never seen an update, to see like the earthquake live, things like that is really fucking exciting. So there's a lot coming up in terms of the schedule. Next up, I actually sent over a DM on Discord to Rach. I'm not gonna read it all in super depth, but I basically am like, hey, like as politely as possible and as kindly as possible, hey, hope you guys are doing well, appreciate all your hard work. I think it is actually the perfect timing, if you're willing, if you can communicate, I think it's weirdly the perfect timing to have some communication from the devs and let us know, what are you guys working on? What's your priority list? What's happening, right? Maybe tease something for the event. I think we've missed, I think 3 deadlines this summer, which is really, really rough, right? We missed VGC. They told us in April that VGC would be coming in the next few months. Haven't gotten that update. It is now 6 months later. We missed temporary. I mean, I don't want temporary incubators, so I'm happy that temporary incubators we missed, but they said they were going to rework temporary incubators and possibly reintroduce them in an update in, what was it, August or September, right? That didn't happen. They also told us that there was a new shiny hunting method coming out, and that didn't happen. So like, it's been an unfortunate, I love PokeMMO. I'm optimistic. I'm positive of the devs. It's been an unfortunate year. It's been a rough year for that, dude. It's been lame, to put it shortly. It's been lame that they've been telling us stuff's gonna happen and it doesn't happen. And I understand things happen in development. I just want us to I want them to let us know what's happening. Hey man, we ran into a lot of hiccups trying to figure out, you know what, VGC actually can't happen. You know, like I just want us to I want them to tell us that, in my opinion, versus like it all be dead air and all be silent. So I wanted to give out this this post and hopefully hear something back. And those are the two things there. We have a bunch of we have a bunch of catch events and things like that to cover as well. Give me one sec. Alrighty, fellas, it is time to go over the catch events and other forum posts for the stream recap. Let's jump into it. First things first, the Doduo catch event on the 22nd of October, Wednesday at 1 p.m. ET, as coming up in about 2 days or so from recording, 1 day from the stream recap. Route 18 in Kanto. Doduo, we've seen this event before. You guys have probably seen this. Shiny Doduo up for grabs, underrated shiny, and it's always the best time to win free RP prior to event season. I try to shout that out a ton. It is the best time to do catch events. Get into your first catch events, especially if you're a new player during right before event season, or even in between, like during the November month, prior to post Halloween and prior to the Christmas event perchance. Okay, Saturday the 25th of October, 10 a.m. Oh my goodness, so early for a gamer. Saturday the 25th of October, 10 a.m. ET, Lost Lorn Forest in Unova, Emolga's plus 20. What a weird, this is a new event that got posted very recently, I believe. Plus 20 for Emolga. What, is this a Pheno event? Is that what this is? How do you, here, I think the only way to get an Emolga, I believe, in Lost Lorn Forest. Yep, the only way to catch an Emolga in Lost Lorn Forest is actually via a Pheno. So if you see a shaking grass tile in Lost Lorn Forest, make sure to go catch it during this event. That'll be really interesting. This will be a really crazy event. And then +5 for Swadloon, +2 for Cottony, -5 for Venipede. Huge nature bonuses. +5 Timid, +5 Jolly, -5 Adamant, -5 Modest. The other concern at this spot is that if there's Zoroa chance. Do you even have to lore for Zoroa, or is it just naturally occurring if you single encounter? Let's double check. Because if there's a Zoroa chance, you can single encounter Zoroa here, I believe. You don't have to. It's not just Horde. The Pokedex actually says only Horde, but I don't think that's true. You can single encounter Zoroa here. So, wow. The concern is, there actually becomes a concern of if you aren't using reactive gas wheezing during this catch event, it's possible that you run into a shiny Zoroa and run away from it and never know. The way that you would tell is that your encounter counter would reset. So there's a really interesting decision here of, do you lead your party with the reactive gas wheezing just in case of that situation? Or that's really terrifying. Or do you just go like synchronize and nest ball for the catch event? That's a really weird catch event. There's a gift Emolga, potentially 6 times slow one up for grabs, 1000 RP. You've seen the prize. There we go. Next up, C-Dot catch event. Petalburg prison meme. I guess that's true. You could keep wheezing. That's a great idea. Keep wheezing in the back in case you get a Horde. That is true. People do like hunt for like single encounter Zoro because it's a really rare shiny to get. Sunday the 20th, maybe it is only wild Hordes. I'm not totally sure, to be honest. Let me qualify that. Next up, the catch event, Sunday the 26th of October at 1 p.m. ET, Route 102 in Hoenn. C-Dot, Ralts, Surskit, and Lotad Pokemon up to catch. Some mixed natures here. And then shiny C-Dot is up for grabs. An amazing shiny. C-Dot, Nuzleaf, Shiftry, all cool shinies for different reasons. Plus 1000 RP. Next up, the Beijing catch events. I'm going to blitz through these very quickly. Saturday the 24th of October at 1600 Beijing time at Route 6 in Unova. There is a Carablast catch event where you can win a shiny Carablast or an Escavalier. Next up, Fan P Beijing time catch event on October 25th, 1600 Beijing time in the Hoenn Safari Zone. Only Fan Ps being caught. You could win a shiny Fan P and 500 RP. Next up, the interesting stuff in my opinion. All right. People are talking about how does Pokemon Legends Z to A affect PokeMMO? And fun fact, it very well might. When the Gen 9 DLC came out and when Gen 9 released, we actually got the moveset updates from those games. There was a lot of Pokemon. I think Empoleon got access to Roost, for example. PokeMMO, a lot of people may not know this. Yes, PokeMMO is a Gen 5 game, but we actually have a lot of Gen 9 balancing. Things like the teleport buff, which didn't happen until Gen 7 or so. And Empoleon having Roost and tons of other, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of other movesets that we only got access to. I think Zapdos getting Hurricane is one that Spidget talks about all the time, right? We don't get Gen 6 plus moves, things like Freeze Dry, but we get the balancing changes to them often, or like different move sets. So we do have a lot of sporadic Gen 9 balancing in Pokemon, which is important, modern balancing. So Xanarchy begs the question, with the launches of Z to A, a bunch of Pokemon got learn sets. For example, Umbreon got Knockoff. That's a huge one. Starmie got Bulk Up, Self-Destruct, and Zen Headbutt. And Lopunny got Swords Dance, Cotton Guard, Dynamic Punch, and Mach Punch is pretty relevant. Swords Dance, Mach Punch might put Lopunny into the NU meta. Will these changes be implemented into PokeMMO, or will we wait for the next real generational game? Like, this is a legit discussion. This is not my wife who is 100% correct. We got learn set changes from BDSP and Legends Arceus in the first part of the 10-year anniversary event, which is about 6 months after the release of the game. I imagine it might be similar. Yeah, this happened before. I think it's really, really interesting. Swords Dance, Flareon, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure we'll have them in PokeMMO. Swords Dance, Flareon, Taunt Evolutions look cool, as also Nasty Plot Frostlass. It's really, really interesting. Nasty Plot Frostlass would be really, really cool, actually. It's an important thing to keep an eye on, is what happens. How does modern Pokemon affect PokeMMO? Because it really does. And this is just, okay, this next post is just a fun little thing that I didn't know existed. I didn't know that in the Chinese community, they actually give out rewards for people posting every day on the forums. It's really small rewards, but I think it's like a daily login kind of thing, but to the forum specifically. So the Chinese community kind of has daily login rewards for PokeMMO, but it's specifically for the forums. Now, I believe these rewards have changed, but when this post was made, this was back in 2021. This started, right? This started back in 2021, and they were giving away one red envelope if you would like say hi every day for a week, and you would also get like a small amount of Pokeyen in-game coins, and then a monthly attendance. It's really I've never seen anything like this. I never heard of this. Never heard anybody talk about it. I thought it was interesting, and I went over to this is how I found it from this initial post. This forum thread has 4,676 pages. People are still, look at this, 7 hours ago. This was made in 2021, I believe. 2019. This was originally created in 2019. And it's been active. It's still active to this day. I think that's really, really impressive and really crazy. Look at this. How many people signed in today alone? Within the past few hours alone. I actually found this thread. These Chinese threads are really hard to find on the English PokeMMO forums. I usually find these threads because I follow every game master and every staff member of PokeMMO on the forums. So I saw this staff member, who's I believe a Chinese staff member, comment on that. I love his Bidoof gif as well. This is so sick. I saw him comment on this. I was like, wow, I'm so glad I found out about this. I think it's really interesting to talk about. So I thought that was interesting. Next up, we've already talked in great detail about the ban wave recently that happened in Pokemon. They usually ban things in waves and ban accounts and players in big waves. So there's a big ban wave, as well as a bunch of good bans, as well as one notorious incorrect ban where Chihuahua Raven was banned. A 5,500 hour player, 55 shiny OTs, was banned and eventually, thankfully, unbanned. Wrong bans are always going to happen. You can't look at that and be like, oh my goodness, like every ban is wrong. No. Mistakes are going to happen. In every system in the world, mistakes and human flaws going to exist. You cannot look at the outlier. You can't have 1,000 correct bans and look at the one wrong ban and be like, oh my god, this is a huge problem, we need to fix it. It's probably not. It's probably just like mistakes are always going to happen. You cannot stop them. I think a lot of people are trying to iron out mistakes in this current day and age, right? But it's good to be empathetic and be aware of it, keep an eye on it, right? So, but I think I actually feel like this was a good conversation. I feel like there was a really healthy, it wasn't like super nice, but it wasn't like mean. It was just like matter of fact. I think this was a really healthy conversation between a few players on the forums, and I wanted to go through. A lot of people might not know why the devs can't just be super open and can't just tell everybody why they were banned and all these, which sucks. I get it, right? So Rocker expresses a very fair concern. The devs need to be transparent here and provide an assessment report on what set the system off. Specifically, this language is what's a little worrisome to me. You definitely can't do that, and we'll explain why. Why it was a false positive, remedial updates, and reviews of similar cases for other banned players. Otherwise, it's just like favoritism towards an established account. Now I would even go on to say I've changed my opinions a lot on this. I remember being like, oh, I don't want favoritism as a and I don't want favoritism as a content creator. But the more I play Pokemon, the more I've, I guess, matured. I kind of do want favoritism towards accounts that have more time into them. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I think if someone has 1,000 or 2,000 hours into PokeMMO, they probably should get more time put into reviewing their case than someone with 100 hours. Maybe I'm an elitist for that. I don't know. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I think someone who's put more time into the game should have more time put into them and reviewing it. That's my take personally. But anyways, so he says this. And Razimove replies, it's not favoritism. He made noise, others didn't, or tried to defame the devs. 99% of the I am innocent claims, unfortunately, are not. This is true. Of course, not being a random person helps, and it's more likely for a one post on the alt forums to be lying. For sure, he was actually active. Being active and genuine on the forums, like having that community consistency, like that community integrity matters. If something needs to be done is to use this as a way to improve the detection systems and compensate Chihuahua. I definitely agree with this. With at least a good chunk of RP or something. Anyone who gets false banned should be compensated with at least a 7-day donor status. Hopefully more, depending on the amount of emotional turmoil, done. Yeah, park test, I'm going to say, we'll get into a quick sec. But not only does it provide them with intel on what could go wrong with some bans, but it also hurt a player in the process in their image as a company. I agree with it, Razzie, a ton here. Next up, Xanarchy, I think, really weighs in really well. You can't really provide details of what sets off an anti-cheat system publicly because people will just abuse that information to improve their cheats. This is the main argument for why the PokeMMO devs can't just tell everybody they ban, why they ban them, what program specifically, blah, 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 like all those things, right? Because then people will just improve. And if you know game development, not that I know it very well, but you understand that it is a constant tug and pull of cheaters trying to get better and better and better and adapt all their systems, and then developers trying to get better and better. It's a constant war of like cheaters constantly upping their game and developers trying to stay ahead. So any advantage developers can get to stay ahead of cheaters is super important. I think this is super fair post. Let me go down to I think this was actually super fair as well, if I recall. However, so Poncho, I actually agree with this. I think Poncho basically adds on to like they shouldn't publicly share details that puts their anti-cheat at risk. However, instead of an automated message, it should be a real moderator that says your application or your appeal was rejected because you were found cheating on Windows, like Desu told to the other guy that jumped on the Chihuahua post. That doesn't really help cheaters evade the ban. Yeah, I agree. In this case of the Chihuahua, instead of an automated message, a real moderator should have checked in it was correct ban. Yes, I totally agree with this. I super agree with this. The problem here is that people are using this post to say I am innocent and they banned me. It's because people get an automated message because they don't really they don't read. I disagree with this. I think they do read a lot of ban appealations. Is that a word? I'm not sure. But I think they even said that this was the first, I believe one of the developers said, this was the first mistaken case of permanent ban by automation ever. I'm pretty sure that was said in the previous post. No? Now, they've had false bans via manual intervention or false temporary bans, I believe, via automated moderation. But I believe they said that this was the first ever false permanent ban from automation, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's what they said, but I could be wrong. Fair consensus 100%. I think this is uncharitable. I don't think the devs think their system works 100%. I don't think anybody thinks nobody in the world is arrogant, at least like nobody in the world is arrogant enough to think their system works 100%. I think the devs believe that their system works probably 98 to 99% of the time, and That's all you can do. The problem is you're literally never going to get 100% perfect. And I think people shit on the devs over and over and over again, trying to push for that 100%, which is it's not going to happen. But having said that, there are things to improve, like this person should have gotten a manual reply, in my opinion. Not saying that all the posts of the I got banned are innocent. In fact, most of them aren't. I agree. I would say most of them, not even a lot. But this case demonstrates that this could happen again or happen before. Yeah, as it will. The problem is, if you're like, yes, I'm going to tell you guys right now, false bans are going to happen. I don't know what yes, correct. It's always going to happen. I don't like, hopefully that shouldn't be in any video game. This is not a PokeMMO only problem. Mistakes are always going to happen. The question is, how egregious of a mistake are we willing to allow, and how bad can the mistake be? You know, blah blah blah. That's like the real. And then what should the compensate? How should it be fixed? How should it be fixed is the greater question, in my opinion. And what do we do to prevent as many mistakes as possible in the future? But I feel like we waste a lot of time discussing the ban system in PokeMMO. I think it's really good, and I've said this before. The reason why the ban system looks so bad in the public eye is because every player that gets banned is a real player in PokeMMO. We don't really have bot farms. They don't really exist in PokeMMO, because why would you bot farm in a game where you can only have one client per device, versus you could just go play RuneScape and open up 20 clients and bot them all at once? You would never bot farm in PokeMMO, right? Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, Park, who's a staff member, says the most important part of ownership is saying we fucked up, here's some compensation. Yeah, which I feel like they do for most cases I know of. Yeah, that's my knowledge as well. Every ban appeal is handled by a person. I can tell you for a fact that obviously errors happen, that's given, but every case is handled by someone. None of it is automated. I don't know if it's a staff member saying that. I don't know if that's true based on what the devs have told us, though, but I could be wrong. That's why I wish the devs would weigh in. I think the devs need to, you know, people ask me what's the biggest problem in PokeMMO. I think it's the developer communication, the lack of developer communication we need to fix for sure. So I think I don't want to be on a somber note. I think it's a positive thing. Like, I think a lot of things have, I think it was a good conversation. Hopefully people understand that now that they can't just release information and details, because it opens them up to more people cheating and cheaters solving their problems, which that's a big problem. So hopefully people understand. I'd love to continue to talk more with the devs, and I think the best thing they could do is talk to us to help empathize them. I think a lot of people get really detached and really desensitized and don't even think of the devs as people, which is really fucked up, because they're just people going to their jobs every day like the rest of us, and they're just working super hard. And I want them to be understood, in my opinion. I want them to understand us as well. So there has to be more conversation between us, the community, and the devs to have a more healthy conversation, a more healthy communication style, and just a better game that leads to a better PokeMMO game overall. So that's what we're all shooting for. Let's jump into it and play some PokeMMO today. Pat, what's the best money making method during the Halloween event to make money? It usually changes like hour by hour, to be dead honest with you. But once things develop, like the hardest ones are the best ones, the ones that least people are able to do. So like hard mode pumpkin, generally the best Pokeyen per hour. I'm gonna throw out numbers based on average money making over the last like 5 years. So please take these numbers with a massive grain of salt. But I would say you can make anywhere from 300k to 1 mil Pokeyen an hour. It might even be closer to like 500k, like 500k to 1 mil Pokeyen an hour farming pumpkin hard mode, but it's very difficult. Most players can't do that. And then pumpkin easy mode usually makes about 2 to 400k, 2 to 500k Pokeyen per hour. And then farming mysterious balls usually like 200k, I want to say 250 to 300k. Most methods during the event season, in my opinion, are subconsciously or consciously balanced around gym reruns, and are usually around the same Pokeyen per hour as gym reruns if you do them efficiently. You can't like go casually do these things and be like, oh, I'm only making 150k an hour. Well, yeah, because you're like slow. no disrespect, you know. Like it depends on how you play and how fast you are and your mechanics and yada yada yada. It does matter in PokeMMO. A lot of people don't think about mechanics in PokeMMO, but your speed really shines through during event seasons, and how locked in you are and how focused you are. It really impacts things. So yeah, what, the first hour or two, I usually rush the pumpkin boss. What I do in the first hour or so, or mysterious balls, is rushing any sealed product, right? In the first few hours of the event, rushing the pumpkin boss, rushing special candies, rushing mysterious balls, anything any event item really you can like usually sell for a pretty high value, because to do the pumpkin boss you have to have a special candy, so you have to farm the spooky candies, then use those. It's all very cyclical, is that the word? Like it's all like a cycle of like you have to go beat up the kids to get their spooky candy, and then use those to get the special candy, and then use the special candy to fight the pumpkin boss, and like it's a lot. Yeah, so it's a lot. You have to beat the pumpkin on easy before you can beat the pumpkin hard, so like things like that. So literally playing the event at all, playing the Halloween event at all, you will make good money. You'll probably make about like 200k Pokeyen per hour on average, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. You will make good money. Just play the event. All you have to do is put in the hours, play the event, have fun. I wouldn't focus on the best Pokeyen per hour for most of the event, personally. I would just have fun and just play whatever is enjoyable to you. Maybe in the first 3 hours, if you want to focus on getting money fast, go and sell stuff. You sell stuff quickly. The first people to put their stuff on the market, that's what. Don't go farm pumpkin 5 times in a row before selling your stuff. No. Beat them once, go sell your bags. Beat them once, go. Like don't farm. You have to go sell quickly. Selling quickly in the first few hours, in the first maybe 1 day or so, is really important. Prices will tank rapidly. Pumpkin bags or goodie bags and pumpkin goodie bags will go down in price so quickly, and special candies. You have to keep an eye on that and be very the market is so active during event season. You have to just be on top of it, and it's all going to change hour by hour, honestly. Dude, it's really insane how busted XP charms are. Like, I try to talk about it all the time. And for reference, I am invested in XP charms, so I do want to qualify that. But I'm invested in them because I think they're busted. On the main account, it was one of my worst investments ever. Is I bought a shit ton of XP charms, I think last year, in preparation for that event season and raids. And I was like, surely, like, people are going to be training up so many raid Pokemon. There's going to be so much XP trading that the demand will outweigh the supply. I was totally wrong. I lost money on XP charms. Now they're just sitting on my account, whatever. So I want to make that really clear so people don't think I'm like under the rug trying to like manipulate, blah, blah, blah. XP charms are really fucking, that's why I invested in them, because they're so insanely good, right? That's my XP charm rug pull. Hopefully it doesn't come off as that. You have to ask yourself, would you pay 64,000 Pokeyen to save an hour of your time? I personally, I think time is more important than money. I'd probably be willing to pay the equivalent to a gym run, right? Or maybe a little bit less. If you can, like, if you make 300k in a gym run, I'd probably be willing to spend 250k on an XP charm. Like, it's so much time save. It's 100% increase. That or lucky eggs or 100% XP charms. It's so insane. Yeah, time was money. Someone said in chat, one Jimmy run is the equivalent of 5 hours saved when XP trading. That is a disgusting thing to keep in. Like, that's crazy. Like, the fact that you can buy 5 of these off one Jimmy run and save 5 hours of XP training is crazy. You should always be, they're kind of like chum buckets. XP charms are kind of like chum buckets, but they aren't an RP item, which is way better. You should literally always be using an XP charm 100%. If you have at least enough XP training to do for an hour, which usually you do, you can always just buy extra stuff. Like, you should always be using an XP charm 100%. They're so freaking good. This is a great question. I love talking about this. I love talking about the history of PokeMMO. When did Hordes get added, and were people against it? I was against Hordes. I was vehemently against Hordes, and I'll explain why, and I'll explain why I've come around and changed my position on that. There's been a lot of things that I've been against over the years in PokeMMO that I think I was wrong on, and why I always praise the PokeMMO devs, because just because I disagree with them in the moment does not mean they're wrong and I'm right. I might change my opinion, you know. I was against the breeding system initially. I was much younger in these days, to be fair. I had a worse thought process. I was against the breeding system. I hated the breeding. I hated that it consumed Pokemon, right? I despised that. But very quickly you learn, like, oh my god, it's actually genius and mandatory for the economy. It makes a lot of sense. And it's better for PvP balance and competitive balance and all those things, right? And PVM as well nowadays with raids, right? But yeah, changing your opinion in the face of new information. Not even new information, but more so like my brain, like my thought process, like my brain coming to terms. People do need time to process change. I think that's fair. I think it's okay. I think it's fair to not expect someone to adapt immediately. You have to give it time. But anyways, back to the Hordes. So Hordes were released, I don't remember exactly. I want to say they were released. Were they released alongside Unova, or I want to say anywhere from 2015 to 2017. I wonder if I can find it. When were Hordes released PokeMMO? I want to say it was like 2015 to 2017, somewhere in that time frame. I don't even know if I can find it, but yeah, prior to that it was all single encounters, and they added hordes. They added this is 2017. This says 2017 with the release of the Unova region in 2017. Is that right? That's an AI. I don't know if that's a correct. So it was 2012 was the 2015 was Hoenn, and then yeah, I guess Unova was. I guess that makes sense. Anyways, so yeah, Hordes came to be, and I was against Hordes because it was like, dude, my brain was like, dude, I've spent 16 hours a day EV training my Pokemon to EV train one Pokemon, by the way, in special attack to do ghastly, encounters. Now I was inefficient. Let's keep that in mind, but I was like, well, why are we making it so fast, so easy all of a sudden? And now I look back and I laugh because like 16 hours to EV train a Pokemon is ridiculous. And not only that, people might hear this and compare to, oh, well, why are you against incubators? And I've explained this before. The reason I'm against incubators, it's a difference of what grinds and what activities are a means to an end versus the end, right? People are not EV training Pokemon as the end game content. They are EV training Pokemon to do PvP, to do raids, to do Elite Four reruns, to do gym reruns, to do, any sort of PVM, PvE, whatever. Shiny hunting is the content. People aren't shiny hunting to do something else afterwards. They're shiny hunting to shiny hunt. So when you cut the time on that, you're literally just removing a challenge and removing content from the game for no reason, right? Versus, I was against Hordes, and the biggest downside of Hordes was the shiny rate being increased so much, but I think it also added extra tiers. What was so genius about Hordes was now you had, okay, yes, you could times 5 Horde for certain shinies, but you can't times 5 Horde for every shiny. You still have to single encounter shunt and egg shunt and do a lot of these other fishing shunts for specific shinies. So that still kept things special, in my opinion. And added the tiers. It was worth to trade off. The question is, there's always positives and negatives to everything, and you have to ask yourself, what is the trade-off? The trade-off of speeding up EV training to allow people to get more into PvP, speeding up XP training to allow people to get more into, endgame contents, and then speeding up shiny hunting to add difficulty tiers and add more complexity to shiny hunting and the thought process and the planning behind it, that was all worth the downside of making things easier. There's a reason. You have to have a reason to make things easier, in my opinion. You can't just make things easier just because. You want there to be a good reason. And I think these things were fantastic reasons. Does that make sense? That's a great question. So I was initially against Hordes on release, and I've since totally changed my position. I think they're one of the best updates to the game. It was really hard to swallow at the time, but I think it was an amazing thing. Incubators, I think permanent incubators, in theory, are a great mechanic and a great update because the benefit is more flexible hatching. AFKing at your PC to hatch eggs was not a fun mechanic. Nobody liked that, right? I kind of did, but that's not many people really like that. We wanted that changed. Having incubators exist so you don't have to AFK at your PC to hatch is fantastic. I love that mechanic. However, there shouldn't have been 8. We shouldn't have gone from 5 eggs to 8 and then temporary incubators taking us from 5 eggs to 15. That's ridiculous, right? That was the problem. Is you took a really cool update and then slid in all this easy stuff that was also an RP item to sell to make money, right? That was the big problem with incubators. And I'm hoping we get some sort of feedback on temporary incubators coming up. I don't want to be negative. My nightmare, worst case scenario, is that they try to release temporary incubators in a malicious way during the Halloween event. If that happens, I am going to be livid. I'm going to be so upset. Now, if they reworked temporary incubators, the problem is I don't know how they could rework them to make them healthy. I literally don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible, unfortunately. But if they try to slide in temporary incubators alongside, I will take that as I almost never assume malice from the PokeMMO devs. I think they do a really good job, but I don't know what else it would be if they try to slip in temporary incubators alongside the positives of the Halloween event and try to get everybody to just let them slide in. Like, that will look so bad. I'll be so unbelievably tragically disappointed in the devs. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. So we'll hope. I'm hoping that it just won't happen. I'm hoping that temporary incubators are just shelved indefinitely, and they'll give us, if they want to bring them back into the game, they give us like a communication line to like adjust them, and they don't add them during an event. That's the ideal situation, and I just hope that's, if they don't release temporary incubators alongside the Halloween event, that in itself will be like a massive jump for joy and a massive positive. Hey Pat, when I hold shift or control plus my A button, the spam does not work correctly for Jimmy runs. Any idea? The only thing that I know of is you might be pressing it too late or too early. The timing matters. As well as, is your A button spacebar? For some, I don't know why, for some reason, control plus spacebar doesn't work as your A button, if that makes sense. So a lot of other people have had that same issue. Yes, you do say yes, it is. Yes, it's spacebar. Okay, that's a really common, it's a really common problem. Mist has also the same problem. If your A button in game is your spacebar, for some reason, it's funny that so many people run into that problem. It does not work. If it has to be alt for some reason. Oh, does alt plus space work? That's like a really hard button combo. That's so strange. But yeah, it's up to you. You might want to rebind or just not worry about it. It's a little bit more efficient to spam Control Z through battles, but it's not the end of the world type thing. Great question. I don't think I've actually told anybody this or said this in public yet, but I could be wrong. I am doing another Iron Man episode prior to event season. I didn't think I would be doing that. I feel bad because I called the last episode the finale of like the season 1. I'm calling this episode 20.5. So it's not technically episode 21. I thought that I just had done enough. I thought that I was like prepared for event season. But I honestly wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. There was still a fair bit of things to do. I thought there wasn't enough to do a whole nother episode, but there has turned out to be. So there will be one more Iron Man episode prior to event season releasing, uploaded on the 26th of October, and it'll be episode 20.5, and it does have a lot of upgrades, content, me, getting certain things. So definitely keep an eye out for it. I think to let people know there is one more episode coming before event season. And call it there today, fellas. Thank you guys for watching. Nice little 4-hour stream on a Monday. I will see you guys tomorrow for a few more streams throughout the week. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. I do upload every single day. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord down below if you're interested in that. If you want to go above and beyond and support the content. YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal Venmo donations help out a ton. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace and Reno. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here, and I wanted to take this time to say thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports my channel. Your names are all listed here. You make it possible for me to make helpful and mildly entertaining content for the game that I love and make it available for free for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for allowing me to even be here.